The 3rd century CE was defined by instability. As civil wars and economic collapse fractured the Roman Empire, the physical world began to look less like a permanent home and more like a crumbling facade. Amidst this decay, the philosopher Plotinus developed a rigorous metaphysical system called Neoplatonism. He sought to identify a level of reality that remained untouched by the historical chaos of his time. Plotinus constructed his foundational framework by expanding on the ideas of Plato and Aristotle. He worked to resolve the contradictions between their views of the soul and the physical world, creating a single, unified theory of existence. He proposed that everything in the universe is generated through 3 distinct levels of reality called hypostases. A hypostasis is a self-contained mode of being that represents a specific gradient of unity. In this view, the physical bodies we see are not primary causes, but secondary effects. This inquiry requires examining the stability of physical existence. We must investigate whether the world we touch is the primary engine of reality or an effect of something hidden beneath. To find that engine, we first examine matter. Aristotle argued for hylomorphism, where physical reality is an inseparable bonding of a concept, the form, and physical stuff, the matter. Plotinus, however, suggests a different relationship. This diagram contrasts the 2 views. While Aristotle sees matter and form fusing into a solid union, Plotinus views matter as an inert, flat mirror that merely reflects the light of higher principles. Matter itself is absolute privation. It has no size, no mass, and no extension of its own. It is simply an empty screen that receives an image without ever being shaped by it. Plotinus calls this non-being. If matter is a void, then the identity of an object, like the heat of fire or the shape of a stone, must be something projected onto it from the outside. Plotinus identifies this projected data as the logos, or formative principle. A logos is the specific bundle of formal characteristics that determines what a physical body is and how it behaves. The logos grants a temporary, distinct identity to matter. Without this projection, the physical body would vanish into the shapeless void of matter. Since physical bodies are just temporary images playing on an empty screen, the next logical step is to find the projector. Tracing the logos back to its source brings us to the first suprasensible layer, the hypostasis of the soul. The soul is a mediator, suspended between the higher dimension of perfect blueprints and the lower physical mirror. It operates through contemplation, looking upward to apprehend intelligible truths, and translating them into the logi that shape the world below. However, the soul cannot apprehend all truths simultaneously. Its cognitive capacity is limited. Because it cannot grasp everything at once, the soul processes information discursively. It reads the higher blueprints piece by piece in a sequence. This sequential processing is the origin of time. Time is not an external container for the universe. It is the internal rhythm of the soul, translating eternal truths into a series of moments. The movement and change we observe in the universe are the automatic results of the soul's chronological processing. If the soul is a processor that works through sequences, the original blueprints it reads must exist on an even higher atemporal plane, where all information is present at once.
We ascend now to the source of the soul's contemplation, the hypostasis of the intellect. The intellect is a static, complete structure. It contains every intelligible form, the perfect models of everything that exists. Unlike the soul, the intellect does not process information sequentially. It possesses simultaneous self-intellection, knowing every truth it contains in a single eternal act of thought. This creates a structure called Mariology, where the whole is present within every individual part. Plotinus compares this to a deductive science like geometry. Just as one theorem logically implies the entire mathematical system, every form within the intellect contains all other forms. He calls this state a hen kala, or multiple unity. It is a system where total interconnectedness means the whole is present in every part. The intellect is the realm of perfect being. But if we follow Plotinus's logic to its end, we find that even this perfect structure cannot be the first principle of the universe. To find the true origin of reality, we have to test the intellect against a strict logical rule. This is the principle of the priority of the simple. Any complex entity must be the product of a simpler cause. Applying this to the intellect reveals a division. Thinking requires two things: a subject that thinks and an object thought about. This means the intellect possesses an inherent duality. It is a one-many, not an absolute unity. Because the intellect is composed of parts and divisions, it fails the test of absolute simplicity. It must have a cause even simpler than itself. Reason forces us to step beyond the intellect and beyond being itself, into something entirely uncompounded and ineffable. At the very top of the system is the One, also called the Good. It is the absolute singularity, described as beyond being. This presents a logical tension. If the One is absolutely simple and lacks nothing, why does it generate a complex universe at all? Plotinus explains this through the theory of two activities. Every perfect entity has two activities. The primary activity is internal. It is simply what the thing is. Plotinus compares this to fire. Its essence is to be hot. Because it is hot, it radiates a secondary activity, heat, into its surroundings, without losing temperature. This is the principle of plenitude. Perfection cannot contain itself. It must overflow into a secondary activity that radiates outward. In this system, the universe is not the result of a creator's choice or deliberation. It is the inevitable, radiating byproduct of ultimate perfection. The Plotinian universe is a dynamic circuit of outflow and return. This vertical stack shows the complete ontological chain, from absolute unity to absolute division. The cosmos is governed by two forces: prudous, the downward procession of formless activity, and epistrophe, the upward return as that activity seeks to be shaped and perfected by its source. These mechanics are present in the human experience. Intellectual curiosity and the drive towards beauty, or eros, both function as biological expressions of this cosmic tension. For Plotinus, human philosophy is the process of the universe completing the circuit. By turning towards the good, we are the metaphysical mechanics of the world attempting to return to its source.